Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all! What's up, Johnny boy?
Oh, I don't know it. Just doing what I do. How have you been? Missed you.
I'm good. I missed you too. I won't say that yesterday was a solidifying thing for me at all, but I'm still being open-minded about whoever might run for president next. It's not. It's
so you'd vote for me?
It's not important right now that we put all of our eggs in one basket. I feel like we should just be patient, see how things play out, and do what's best for our country.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm very open-minded, John.
Shameless plug.
I'm very open-minded. I'm not endorsing anybody right now at all. I don't even know where these came from. It's very weird. Oh no,
all right.
John.
Well, my internet sucks, so I don't know how much I'm going to be on today or not because it is awful. Plus, I married Lindsay. I tell her, hey, good morning, and
Yeah. John is being replaced by a robot this morning, and that's okay. It happens to us sometimes here on Texas Fully Loaded because that's just the way that it is sometimes. So, I'm not endorsing anyone right now. I'm not going behind any one candidate. Oh
no! Let me see if I can. Because this is so bad. Okay, you're looking, and the only service in the area is so.
Okay, I think that John said that he's going to try and use his phone as a hotspot. So we'll give John a minute to be able to get that switched over and set up. And while he does, I'm going to shamelessly plug. I'm super excited. My dad's stuff started coming in. I told you guys that he is starting a new business to do T-shirts and mugs and all that kind of stuff. This is one of those cool disappearing mugs. So when my cup gets empty or it's cool, it'll just look black. And then if not, look at this. Is this not the coolest thing ever? Hold on. I'm trying to not be all funky about this. It's a roadmap of Texas. It's got a whole bunch of different counties and stuff on it. And it's got some cities that bust through. And I am so excited about this. So yay, be on standby. So like I said, his stuff is coming in and he's getting stuff ordered so that we can hit the ground running, and it'll be a new tab on our website soon. So if you want to start taking some pre-orders for these amazing coffee mugs, let me know. We have them in the disappearing one, and then we also have them in the regular one. I'll pull over the regular one in just a second. I'm excited about it though, because I was like, we can't just do the disappearing ones because John doesn't drink coffee. So his will just look like he's got a black coffee mug all the time. Hold on. Let me grab it. As John drinks from his Rudy's cup. Okay, hold on. Here's the other one. Oh, wait, you can't see that yet. Hold on.
Oh, very cool.
Is that not awesome?
That is awesome. Hey, what I was saying when I got cut off, when my internet sucks so bad. If you're looking to buy a home, you should always ask the question, what's the internet provider for this area? If they tell you it's Suddenlink, then go to another area. Find another home somewhere else, because the service is awful. That stuff is in and out all the time. I mean, I'm on my hotspot right now just because my internet sucks so bad. And many times I come on and try and fix it, it's the same thing, and it's every neighbor in the neighborhood, so it's terrible. So don't ever use that stuff.
Y'all should petition. Like, I think Verizon's supposed to be really good. Like, start petitioning them. They should have it nearby. Y'all don't live in
Texas. When I lived, there's an old Aesop fable about a guy who goes to the market to escape death and runs into death at the market and said, I was here to meet you. That's kind of my life story. I mean, I lived in this other house and we had Suddenlink. It was called something else at the time. Was it Comcast? I can't remember. It's Suddenlink, and now they changed it to Optimal. Which Optimal means doesn't work apparently in some language. And so I had it there for a while, and then Tacos came in, and it was fiber company that fiber optic internet company, and they were amazing. The service was great. The internet was great. And then I moved, and so I didn't have Tacos as an option. I get to this new neighborhood. I go, okay, well, what are the internet providers? Because there was 3 listed when we bought the house. When we got here, they said, oh, this one's not available yet, and that one's not available yet. So that's all that was available was that one in the middle there, and that's what you get. And so that's what we have right now. Sorry if somebody was at home and offended by my illustration.
You were just holding up the number of choices that were left. I don't know what's offensive about that, John.
I was.
I'm going through hot flashes again. I didn't know I was hitting menopause at 39, but here we are.
Hot flashes, huh? Awesome.
Now, in fairness, it has been okay. So this is where it's stupid. So it's been between 110 and 115 along the border for the last week and a half, consistently. And when it's the morning and it's 70 degrees outside, my body's like, you know what? It's time for a good hot flash right now. Let's just go ahead and let you start sweating early because you need to lose some extra pounds. I'm not really sure how this works. Not a fan.
Acclimating.
But here we are.
Well, I'm back on my diet, Sandra. I'm trying to get back into my fancy suits, and it's going pretty good actually.
Yes, I've also started dieting again, John. We got to do something here. So is Walter. So I took some
pants to the tailor. I took some pants to the tailor yesterday. The lady's like, "You too skinny for these. You need to get rid of these pants." So that's a good feeling, I guess.
Wow. Okay. John's not included in the diet challenge this time then.
Wow.
He said the tailor's telling him he's too skinny for his pants. And I'm over here going, I have to buy new pants because I'm not too skinny for my pants.
Well, a couple years ago, I bought some suits that I thought, the goal is to shrink down into these. And I bought 2 in one size and then 2 in even a lower size, a smaller size. And I thought, I don't know if I'm ever going to get into these because I'm just what's the word I'm looking for? Lazy. That's the word I'm looking for. Lazy and don't care. And but because I've just been so busy, and I got a new grill, so I've been grilling stuff. I've been doing better about that kind of thing. And
grilling food is way better than even cooking it like that's the healthiest food out there is grilled food.
Yeah, and anyway, so I just on a whim, I was like, man, my clothes are fitting really loose. So I grabbed that one of the suit that's size, in the deal, and they fit, Sandra. So
no kidding, good for you, John Boucher.
Gearing towards the next one. Now Simon yesterday posted on his Facebook page, which I thought was very heartfelt. He said, I don't know which of you need to hear this, but you're a good person and you're not a whore or something like that.
Aww.
Yeah. Thank you, Simon. I needed to hear that.
Simon.
That's exactly the message I needed yesterday.
That was good for Simon is a people builder. He likes to build people up. And we love Simon for that. He was even talking about he's on board with the diet too. He only had 1 donut for breakfast this morning. And you know what? I appreciate that you're being on our level right now, Simon.
Yeah. I don't drink coffee, man. It's just never been my thing, but I do drink at least 1 energy drink a day because I got to do that just to stay awake. And love my caffeine though. I just can't drink coffee. I don't know why. I've been more of a tea guy. But even if I drink that in the morning, it upsets my stomach because my delicate constitution and all, Sandra,
Yeah. It's real life.
Anyway, well, so where's Walter today?
He's out saving the world. He's doing what he does. He's working on the wall and meeting landowners and doing all that jazz and building safety manuals and stuff that cool people do.
Well, God bless Walter. He's always been a good friend to me, and I appreciate him a lot. And I hope he's doing well. So
yes, he's doing good. We were at the DeSantis rally in Eagle Pass yesterday. It was a packed house. There was standing room only. We were asked to sit on the risers to if DeSantis was on the stage, we were on the left side of him, about halfway up. Chip Roy was, Walter could literally grab Chip Roy by the shoulder and from where we were sitting.
Chip Roy.
Matt Schaefer was one person aside. We do have pictures, and when I say we, that Walter took all of the pictures because I never take pictures because I'm that person. So pictures will follow. And actually, he did put one video up on TikTok yesterday. I want to play that really quick for last night. This is good stuff because DeSantis was really, he really was fantastic. We truly enjoyed it. Hold on 1 second here. Let me. 1 second here. Here it is.
We ranch down here north of Eagle Pass. All of us are here because of a concern on the border. And we all know that 90% of this problem is the cartels. And the cartels control Mexico. So in your administration, how would you control the cartels in Mexico?
We will. It's a great question. And it was good to talk to you all before this about the people on your property and knocking on your windows. I probably not as a big a deal for folks in this community, but you guys know this is happening. But if you go to other communities throughout this country that don't see that and say, how would you feel if 15 people came in the middle of the night, started knocking on your windows? I don't think very American citizens would sign up for that. I guarantee you. And so it's a huge problem. And the fact that that type of invasive activity is happening just shows we need to take strong action. So we will use every bit of leverage at our disposal against both Mexico and every power at our disposal against the cartels. I think there's a lot of leverage we have over Mexico that a lot of presidents have not been willing to use. I think that they think that somehow that will be bad politically. I don't think so at all. I think you've got to do it. And just think about it. How many of these folks are coming all the way through Mexico to get to the southern border? Mexico's not doing what they need to be doing. This is something that they're working effectively with the cartels to allow happening, and it's totally unacceptable. So we've got a lot of levers at our disposal. We will pull those levers and exercise leverage to ensure better behavior, and we will also use the authority. We do transnational criminal, we call the cartels. We do foreign terrorist. We're going to do a designation that's going to pack a punch. And here's the thing. For the president to battle against the cartel.
Well, okay, that was exciting. I don't know why it did that, but it's still sharing. Okay, is it?
So
anyway, so then I do have some pictures. They're not mine, but Thad, you guys know that I'm working with Thad on his exploratory committee. He was invited by Governor DeSantis to Arizona a couple of weeks ago, and then again here to Eagle Pass. And so he got to share what's really happening, the truth about our border, and just do some really awesome, have some one-on-one time with the governor. Chip Roy was here, got to spend some time with him, and just kind of talking to the people there. This family has been an amazing, outspoken family for the border and the crisis that they've been dealing with in their home because of the border crisis. They've had to move twice because of illegals coming up to their house, knocking on doors, destroying property, all sorts of things. So it was really a good day down here on the border yesterday. So I was excited that Thad got to have that one-on-one time. I got to speak to the governor for a few moments also. So we'll share more of that later on when we get the videos and stuff posted to that. But don't forget to be checking out Thaddeus for Texas on social media and on his website as well.
So Patty says we're ignoring her. We're not ignoring you. Just Sandra was talking, and so we just couldn't comment on you right now, Patricia. But we're keeping an eye on you, just like you keep an eye on us, right?
Yes. Because when I think people don't realize, if I've got other things playing, we can't necessarily see the comments until we come back also.
Okay. Well, let me jump into some of the stuff that's happening on this big blue marble, if you don't mind, Sandra.
Yes, do it. No, I don't mind.
And if my workers show up, I'm going to have to jump off for a minute, but I'll come right back. Okay.
No problem.
All right. Well, back in the day, did you used to like to watch those James Bond movies, Sandra? Was that one of your things?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I did.
I
My
love
dad
those. And they had
would
little
watch them.
gadgets, and he would sneak into places and he would take pictures of things and do all that stuff. Well, here's one for you. We are all James Bond now, Sandra. Did you know that? All of us are, because we have our smartphones. And this is the kind of technology that Ian Fleming couldn't even conceive of, really, when he was doing the James Bond movies. We've all got one now, which has created a little bit of a problem. It's called open source information, open source intelligence, which is the accumulation of all of the information that private citizens upload onto the web. And so China is gleaning through this right now. They're investing in new ways to harness this open source technology to find more about the U.S. military and give them some economic advantages. That's what they're working on right now. So it's a pretty big deal. They're spending a lot of money doing this. What do you think? Is this going to be a problem, Sandra?
Well, I think that if anybody has ever truly paid attention when they opened their phone for the very first time, they had to have either realized that their information was going somewhere or not. I mean, this is the whole thing. This is why, if you pay attention, like old people and even some people in different types of governmental positions, they don't have smartphones.
Right.
They have the
TikTok
old,
is a big deal too. It's a lot of government moving away from TikTok for that reason.
right. They have the older phones. They still have a flip phone or something along those lines, something that has more of that.
Those antlers
analog
behind you are
concept
hilarious,
instead of
Sandra.
the digital
Look at your
concept.
picture. It looks like you have
I know.
antlers.
Isn't that the best? So you'll appreciate this, John. My dad loves Rocky and Bullwinkle, and so I grew up
There's
on
a horny
Rocky and
joke in there,
Bullwinkle
but
also. Probably not, but no. And so anyway, so I took this picture, and I'm going to move aside so you can see the whole thing. And as you can see, the moose has a hat on his head. And if you ever watched Rocky and Bullwinkle, Rocky would always say, "Hey," or he'd tell Bullwinkle would tell Rocky that he was going to pull a rabbit out of his hat, and then that old trick never works. So I took the picture, and I said, "Dad, I'm going to show you a picture, and you tell me the first thing that comes to his mind or to your mind." And as soon as I held up the phone, my dad just had tears burst into his eyes, and he goes, "I don't know. Tell me what came to your mind." And I said, "Oh, Rocky." And he just started cracking up laughing. It was an awesome moment. So this is now officially one of my favorite pictures. Y'all are welcome.
Well, very cool. Well, there's another thing happening in this world that's pretty significant, Sandra, when it comes to information, and that is that whether or not, there's undersea cables are being run in an effort to network the entire world, which is, kind of scary and kind of exciting. I mean, if you think about it, I think there's a problem now with the communists spying on us. Just wait until they're hardwired into every nook and cranny of the world. That's going to be pretty interesting. Now, there's a big battle happening right now to see who is going to control the infrastructure of these cables. So the U.S. does what it usually does, and they came up and they said, we're going to use our global influence to create an advantage for us and our allies in this new undersea cabling endeavor. At the same time, China, knowing that it won't follow the rules that the U.S. is imposing using its influence, they had some choices to make. They could disengage altogether from this new technology, not new technology, but from this new effort to network the world through hardwire. They could play along for now and just see what they can get out of it and how far along it can go. Or they could go and just go ahead and do their own thing and just kind of back out of it and just say we're going to do our own thing. Well, they went for option C, and they're investing $500 million to rival the U.S. undersea cable efforts. What do you think, Sandra? Wow. Is this undersea cable effort going to be a big thing? I mean, you see how Wi-Fi is. It's so unstable. What are they going to do, Sandra?
Can I not sound like a jerk, but it probably is going to seem a little bit insensitive?
Sure. You've never been successful with that before, but go ahead.
I know. So this is going to just be prepared. Last week, we had a submarine explode underwater because of pressure and everything else. So, and they couldn't get in touch with the people and things like that. I'm sorry, it imploded. It didn't even explode. I apologize. It imploded. We should be technical. So how, and we have open air signal, as Jon is experiencing right now, that is not several miles under the water or thousands of feet, however you want to describe it. And he has signal problems. Who in God's green earth thought this is going to be very successful and we will have no problems with signal?
Well, again, I think it's like anything else. If it's a proximity thing, it'd probably be fine. When you're talking about running hundreds of miles of cable, I mean, yeah, you're right. It's going to be a problem for sure. I could say on a side note about the submarine thing. I was pretty disappointed in some of my friends, some of the jokes they were making about that submarine. Maybe it's because I'm a little claustrophobic, but it just really bothered me, all the memes that people were posting about it. I mean, have we really reached a point in society where we mock other people's death and I mean, it's just horrible to think about, Sandra.
I couldn't quite grasp onto the whole meme concept of some of this. It was, I can't, these people literally were morons. I'm not going to say that they weren't. That they said, hey, let's go into a sub that has been, even in court, the stuff was put out saying, hey, this is not safe. And all the extras were saying, hey, this is not safe. And they did it anyway. So, I mean, it was definitely a test and stupid. But at the end of the day,
the guy who built the sub bragged, this is all off the shelf stuff. So you went to Home Depot and built a deep water sub.
Bought the stuff off the shelf. Exactly. And so it was definitely a litmus test in stupidity. I mean, I did make the statement last week.
They should have named it the SS Darwin, that the sub.
Oh, absolutely. Because I made the statement last week. I said, look,
while their lives are hanging in the balance, they got X amount of oxygen left, and people posting these stupid memes about, Siri play air supply and all the other crap that they're doing. I don't know. I
thought it was a little
bad reflection on humanity. I think I really do.
No, it's kind of funny. My mom actually made the same statement, and I couldn't disagree with her. I was just like, I mean, why? I don't know. It was in poor taste. It was. I did make the statement though. I said there was a lot of money in terms of people's net worth that were on that submarine, and I said, look, if this was a litmus test for, you get to pick one, brains or money. I guess I'm going to just have to stick with brains. So here we are, y'all. And
well, the teenager that was on the sub, I read this morning, his mother and father were on the sub together, and she gave up her seat for him because he wanted to go, and he was very excited about going. So she's living with that right now too. That's
Anyway. See, it's stuff like that people don't want to talk about. There's definitely some questionable stuff that happened with that whole situation, and it was tragic in terms of people did lose their lives, but it was absolutely preventable. But the owner was too wrapped up in his own greed.
Arrogant. Well, he was arrogant. He was so arrogant, and I don't know. So let's move along a little bit. On June 23rd and June 24th, there was the Wagner uprising in Russia, where thousands of mercenaries began marching towards Moscow. Apparently, they were angry about the Ukrainian invasion and the way that's been handled. They're very critical about the Russian military and how they're doing things. About 20 people were killed by the time it was all over with and before the mercenaries stood down. But certainly give you an idea, though, that Russia, no matter what we think, is still Russia. The ongoing struggle between the Bolsheviks, the Russian Republic, and the separatists are, it's always going to be there. It's part of the Russian story. It's part of the fabric of that country. And I think it will just continue, that internal upheaval. Now, in the aftermath of this, the U.S. came out and went to China and said, see how messed up they are? You need to stop supporting them in the Ukraine. That's a far cry from the kind of diplomacy of strength that we've had as a country for a long time. Does this show weakness, Sandra?
Yes.
Okay, moving along. Good.
Move along. No, I mean, it does. It shows that we just want to, I don't know. It shows a lot. The whole Ukraine situation is it's a joke. And I don't know if you guys saw, there was a picture of an American flag and at the bottom half it was red, white, and blue into blue and yellow. It was okay. It was okay. That ended up getting debunked. But I mean, the fact still remains is that we're still seeing where congressmen are wearing a Ukrainian flag. We're still seeing where everything is focused on highly on Ukraine. And the reality is that I take pride in our older two boys, my oldest one specifically. Every single day every time we pray together, and you know, all the boys are there. Alex always makes sure that he prays for Russia and Ukraine. Because there are people that are stuck in the middle of this, and it's crap.
Well, going back to the Russian Revolution, and that's probably the best point in history you could really see the lines drawn there. You had the separatists who wanted to form their own nation states. You had the Russian Republic people who were the ones kind of like us a little bit. We just want to rule ourselves and do our thing. And then the Bolsheviks, the hardcore communists who ended up winning that. We were coming out on top in that Russian Revolution. But the spirit's still there. People still want to be free. And so you're always going to have this upheaval there. And, you know, President Putin had to be a little bit nervous when he saw these, you know, estimates. What are they? There were 8 to 20-something thousand of these mercenaries. Who knows how many there really were? I don't know. But marching steadily towards Moscow. And Putin said, well, I was letting them come. I could have destroyed them whenever I wanted. Maybe that's true. Maybe it's not true. I don't know. If it's not true, that gives you an idea of the state of the military readiness in Russia right now, which would not be good. Have they really extended themselves so much into Ukraine with their treasure and their resources and their personnel? They can't even defend their homeland right now? I don't know. Which is a dangerous situation, really, Sandra, because if you get to the point where you're so desperate, somebody's going to press a button that shouldn't be pressed, and then all hell's going to break loose.
Yep.
Moving along. So what else is happening? Here's a good one for you. Speaking of who's going to be the next president, the judge hearing the Trump case has denied the prosecution's request to keep the witness list sealed. What they were seeking to do, essentially, it seems, was to keep the identities of these Justice Department 84 witnesses concealed to avoid their motives being questioned or those people being scrutinized at all, in case anyone, open source technology, would have went out and said, hey, you know, this person is this or that, and they've done this. So they didn't want that to happen. So it's a pretty big blow to the prosecution's case, who wanted to keep these people hidden until the trial, essentially, and say, here's what they said. And, well, who said that? Well, we can't tell you. So that is a major victory for the Trump side of this case.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you know, I personally think that there's still a lot of stuff that they're trying to push off on Trump just to try and take the fire off of Biden. I don't think anybody will ever change my mind of that. And you know, we saw. In fact, I think I have a video that was sent to me. Hold on, I think this is the right one. Yeah. Hold on a second. Let me cue this one up. Y'all are gonna love this little treat here. Well. No, just kidding. Hold on a second. Well, I had a video where Biden's talking about how he sold secrets. He slipped.
Yeah, I remember that video. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, so you know, you're seeing these kinds of stuff coming out, and look, Trump was never a saint. We didn't hire him to be a saint. I think he did a fantastic job for the most part while he was in office. But you know, what's happening to Trump is literally they're like, hey, he did this 6 times. We did it 106 times. So let's get him on those 6 times. So nobody will pay attention to the 106 times that are coming out for us right now. You know what I mean? Like it's
not working. Trump's numbers are growing. He's raising more money. It's not. This reminds me, and I've said this in the article I said this in an article I wrote recently that you'll appreciate, Sandra, because you like history. When Napoleon Bonaparte broke out of exile and he was headed back to France, the king of France continued to send troops to try and arrest and stop Napoleon. After the king sent several different dispatches of troops, Napoleon wrote him a letter and said, "Dear brother, please stop sending troops. I have enough." That's how Trump is in this situation. No matter how much they do to him, he grows. And until they figure that out, they're going to be the reason he gets reelected. The American people's disdain for the uniparty and big government. I think the Black Plague has a higher approval rate than Congress does.
Right.
And so, having the DC hyperventilate over Donald Trump and pull out all these Wile E. Coyote efforts to try and stop him is only going to help Trump and has helped Trump every time. So,
well, and again, this is one of my big issues though with Trump is as soon as he started getting arrested on different help support Trump, help him fight for you and blah blah blah. But Trump needs help with his legal fees and all this other BS propaganda. But we haven't seen Trump help raise money at all for the J6ers. And I've been asking the J6ers, show me where he's helping you guys raise money. You guys are in jail because he asked you guys to come to Washington, D.C. to help fight for you guys and to help, stand up for the Constitution. So everybody went to Washington, D.C., and then Trump hasn't done anything to support you guys. And I've had a few of them go, that's true. And I did get text messages about his legal fees while we're over here and we can't feed our family.
Well,
because we're trying to pay for our legal fees.
I don't know, Sandra. I think he has been doing some of that out there. But the trap, of course, for him is the uniparty still calls that an insurrection. So as soon as Trump speaks out in favor of the Jan 6ers, they go, see, he's in favor of the insurrection. He did do it. So I understand him doing what he can, where he can, but he does speak out occasionally about it. I did see that he came out and said if elected president, he will pass a federal law against child mutilation, but gender reassignment surgery of children. I think that's going to play pretty big for him.
Well, I mean, that should be a no-brainer for anybody, especially if you're running as a Republican to push that agenda, period. And I think, DeSantis is doing it there in Florida. That's why Florida hates, or why Disney, part of why Disney is fighting with him.
I don't know if you want to read anything into this, Sandra, but I typed in Trump J6 just to see what came up. Look how many search results there were, Sandra. 666. 6.
On that note, maybe we need a commercial break and some holy water. Excuse us while we try and find some holy water. Just kidding. We'll be right back, you guys. back with a huge thank you to our amazing sponsors. Of course, the Montgomery Take Two, the Montgomery County Tea Party. Don't forget the first and the third Monday of every month, be at Citizens Grill in Conroe, Texas. The meeting starts at 6:30. Try and get there early so you can get something yummy to eat, hug some necks, ask some questions, learn something. You just might learn something. You never know. And then also, of course, the Vietnam Veterans of America. They are an amazing organization. Yesterday, we were in a VFW hall. I got to speak to several Vietnam veterans. They are just wonderful people. They really are. And they're not just working for veterans. They're working for the betterment of their community. But let me rephrase that. They're not just working for Vietnam veterans. They're also working with and for other veterans. So make sure that you get plugged in with these amazing individuals. Next time you're out and you're at Sam's Club or grocery store or whatever, maybe pick up an extra box of chips or an extra case of sodas or something. Bring it by for their next meeting. Go and shake a hand. Take your teenagers there to meet these amazing individuals who can tell stories that Hollywood would only dream of. So make sure you get involved and plugged in with the Vietnam Veterans of America. Also, don't forget, if you're sick and tired of Jeff Bezos and what was that other group? Simon. Anyway, the other weirdo internet shopping places. Go to mammothnation.com/#WeThePeopleWork. Sign up. It's only $25 for a year. You get exclusive discounts, and you know that you're shopping with American businesses and veteran-owned businesses. So make sure you get plugged in with that. Simon, I did... I am, in fact, a walking, talking advertisement. Simon, John, you should be here for this. I'm bringing you into this. You're welcome, John. Simon said that I needed to have some Trump stuff for my next, after the commercial break. And I said I haven't sold, I'm not 100% for any. Oh, how unfortunate. You can't see it. It says Team Trump, I promise. No, it's not having it, Simon. The interweb has spoken. It says Team Trump, though. I don't know if you can see it. I've got glare on mine. I did my part. See?
Wow. Okay. You mentioned those Vietnam veterans. It reminded me when I was in college, there was a gentleman named M.B. Etheridge who's from Walker County. He was the second most decorated war veteran of World War II. Do you know who the first most decorated was, Sandra?
No, I don't.
Howdy Murphy. M.B. Etheridge was the second most decorated war veteran of World War II, and he came and spoke to our class one day. I took a World War II class, history class, and he was one of the people who led one of the leaders that landed at Anzio. That was just a horrific battle when they landed, and hearing him describe it, this old man standing in front of me talking about it, his call sign was Little Beaver, which I thought was I remember that. But he said when they landed, they came up against a really steep cliff facing, and they're on the beach, and they were supposed to have air support, and they were supposed to have battleships supporting them, shelling the gun placements and the German placements on top of the cliff facing. He said when we landed, there was no cover. And he said, I watched them. We were stuck on that beach, and that night we all had to lay really still, because if you moved even a little bit, the snipers would sight you in. And then you would have to watch as the tracer bullets, came down from the cliff facing and eventually passed through your men. And this old man started crying while he was talking to me about it. You don't realize the emotional impact that war has on people. And our veterans right now, at a rate of 17 per day, are committing suicide in this country. And it's frightening. So yes, anytime you can go spend with these veterans and just make them feel appreciated, make them feel human, make them feel something positive again, please go ahead and do that. But back to the news, Sandra. We talk a lot about, preservation and how the stuff that they dig up for these batteries in these electric cars is more harmful to the environment than the actual traditional cars. Well, the Biden administration has invested $1.7 billion now, just granted it money out of nowhere, and said we're going to go ahead and give low emission buses and electric buses in 46 states and territories. So that means like Puerto Rico and stuff too are going to get, we're going to pay for electric buses and et cetera in there. Now, right now, the stuff that it takes to make batteries, the, nickel, lithium needed for these batteries, the price is way up because this natural resource, I guess, is becoming less plentiful as it once was. So it's
yeah, imagine that, because it's not renewable.
Yeah.
Weird. You know, it's funny. Yesterday, DeSantis made the statement because somebody asked him about what he would do, in terms of like gas and oil and gas workers specifically. And DeSantis specifically made the statement, I will make sure that every single pipeline gets opened back up, that we're putting people, number one, back to work, but more importantly, we're going to make sure that gas is affordable again, because, there's no reason that it shouldn't be.
Yeah, Simon, I could see that. If I was driving a Prius, I'm sure somebody would come up to me and say, hey, what does your husband drive? I'm sure that happened to me. So, but you don't have to worry about with me, Simon. It's not going to happen.
That's good. Stay strong, John. Stay strong.
What else is going on? What'd you say?
I said, stay strong, John. What do you think? You know what? Maybe don't tell me.
I don't want to know.
Moving on.
Here's one for you, Sandra. The Texas Supreme Court has ruled that the Electric Reliability Council of Texas, or ERCOT, cannot be sued over the 2021 deadly winter storm and the massive number of power outages because they have sovereign immunity. You know what sovereign immunity really is, Sandra?
Give it to us, John.
Sovereign immunity means the government has to give you consent to sue them. How does that make any sense? You got to get permission. Government, may I sue you? Now, the reason they say sovereign immunity is important is because every time something comes in place, you're going to have somebody to complain about it, and they don't want them running to court on every little thing. I get that. But this dismissive attitude about the poor preparation for our electrical grid at that time and the number of people who suffered economic hardship and died is pretty serious. And to just offhandedly say, yeah, they got immunity, you can't do anything to them.
It's fine.
I think that is, yeah. What's that movie? So I Married an Axe Murderer, where he was just real. He's like, so she killed a few people. It's kind of what it feels like. Thank you, Texas Supreme Court. You guys are,
Well, I mean, they're doing a really great job here with our power grid. I mean, they are, because there's rolling blackouts again right now because it's too hot, and so they're asking people.
What's your hot flashes, Sandra?
That I saw? Just my hot flashes. Okay, that makes me feel better. I think I saw that they were telling people to set their thermostat to like 85 or some crap like that. We're like, absolutely not. You do yours first, Greg Abbott.
I'll tell you, on a somber note, I love Montgomery County. I have always loved Montgomery County. And one of the shining jewels across this entire nation has always been the Woodlands. And I have fought like hell to protect the Woodlands. That's how I kind of got my teeth cut into politics here. Back when they were talking about building a highway through the Woodlands back in 2013, 2014, 2015, around there, I got my hands dirty because I lived off of Robinson Road, which is just on the east side of the freeway from the Woodlands. Woodlands Parkway is Robinson Road that runs through my neighborhood at that time. And so I walk across the freeway, and I would fight to keep that highway from being built past my house and destroying my sleepy little bedroom community. And the Woodlands was just a really special place. It was always ranked, Sandra, amongst the best places to live in the world. And even it was always like number one in the U.S. It was awesome. Well, since the Rhinos took it over, back when the conservatives controlled the Woodlands board, it was consistently rated in the top list of best place to live in America. Well, not anymore. Congratulations, Rhino establishment. Your murder of the golden goose is finally complete. The Woodlands isn't even ranked in the top places to live in Texas right now because of these people. And let me tell you something. When you see Sheila Jackson Lee become mayor of Houston, and she will, she's going to make a strong push to annex that Woodlands tax base. I guarantee you it's coming. Those manhole and drainage covers throughout the Woodlands right now, that when you read them, go look at them. They say property of the city of Houston. That's always been a harbinger of things to come. And you remember, folks, we told you so, but you fell for a slick campaign from the good old boy Democrat coalition with their deceptively named Preserve the Woodlands PAC. And you voted against your own best interest, so you're going to get what's coming to you.
Simon, I also have questions about that.
Mm-hmm.
So that Austin is the top place to live in Texas?
Yeah, that's what they say. Now, it's not just Austin. I mean, if you go around Austin, like Dripping Springs and those areas, I mean, they're gorgeous out there. I just went hiking there recently. These are the top places to live in Texas, supposedly. Look at Beaumont's number. I don't know about that one. Corpus, Brownsville, McAllen. Oh, I mean, but this is the U.S. News from the real estate deal. Look at the places that are the best places to live in the U.S. Not a place in Texas at all ranked. And this is Money Magazine. Nothing. In Texas, I heard, was like the middle of the pack in terms of conservatism in the state. Ranked. I mean, we're just.
Can I ask a question about this magazine?
Well, it's not just this one. I just pulled this one, but there was a lot of them. They were all pretty much the same. But go ahead.
Are these based out of California? And they're like, no, see, you don't want to go to Texas. It's awful there. See, it didn't even make our list. I feel like that could be a good thing, John.
I would buy that, but look, I mean, there's a lot of Florida in here. There's Alabama.
Okay.
It's not slanted that way. Arkansas.
Well.
Anyway.
I'm going to sip my coffee.
Moving along. So the Woodlands got hosed in that deal. And the reason they got hosed in that deal, Sandra, they made a campaign error because they were speaking too high to people. When they talked about incorporation, people, oh my God, incorporation, that sounds so intimidating. They should have ran a campaign on self-determination. And that's what I told them when they started. I said, if you run this on incorporation, you're going to lose. I said, you need to be talking about, we want self-determination. We want smaller government. We want direct government that we can control, that we can elect and remove when they go against our best interest, instead of having our governance scattered out all over the state. But they don't listen to me, and they went ahead with their campaign of incorporation versus, the Preserve the Woodlands people, where, I mean, that was so dishonest too. I mean, I heard the commissioner, or somebody asked a question, what are you going to do when we start getting a lot of traffic to the Woodlands, Commissioner Nowak? He goes, well, we'll have to clear cut the medians and widen the roads. Not a big deal. And so at the next meeting, that was a big deal, because people are like, we don't want you clear cutting the trees and getting rid of the medians. So at the next meeting, somebody confronted James Nowak about that and asked him, he goes, I never said that. I'm like, we were all there. But they were just able to lie their way through the end of that deal, and they got what they wanted because people thought, and you'd hear them at the polls. You'd ask people, say, are you for or against incorporation? Oh, I'm against incorporation because I don't want to be annexed. Well, then you're voting the wrong way. Well, no, I don't believe in incorporation. Look, I just want this. I want us to be able to vote for our own people. Well, then you're voting the wrong way. I mean, they were really good at deceiving people to vote against their best interest. And, now the chickens are coming home to roost. Congratulations. You're not even on the list of best places to live anymore in Texas. I mean, shit, you might not even be on the best places to live in Montgomery County at this point. So congratulations on that. Anyway, moving along.
Although Charlotte does speak highly of their mall to everybody she talks to.
Excuse me?
Charlotte does speak highly of the Woodlands Mall to every person she talks to.
Nice.
Because she wants to go shopping, and me and Mom went to that really big mall, and it was cool.
Well, let's see, what else do I have for us today?
This is a fair statement. Simon said, LOL, 81 million people voted the wrong way. So it's fair. Judgment
No, they
doesn't
didn't.
seem to be judgment.
No, they
doesn't seem to
didn't.
be there.
And I'm still really pissed at the Civil War veterans all for breaking for Biden, by the way.
Well, somebody had to.
It's an article I wrote.
They're about the same age, John. That's the problem. They're like, hey, he's one of us.
I posted the link. I think people will like it. This is an article I wrote. And then our editors went through and made it readable. Thank you, Lisa Rayleigh, VJ Fike, and Stephanie Cox for fixing that for me. But this is, if you go to our website, go to the subscribe button, mctxgop.org. I posted the link in the comments. But it's a great article about Donald Trump and his court hearings and the claims in the indictment. If you want the snapshot of what's happening with the Trump indictment, we're giving you an up-to-date view on that. We told you about the witness list now being unsealed. And you should go check it out. I think you'll like it. There's the historical reference to Napoleon back in 1815 I talked about with King Louis XVIII. So go check that out. I think you guys might like that.
I'm not triggered, Simon. I still defend Trump. Like, I think they're going after bogus charges. I just don't want him to be president again.
Yeah, and look, when DeSantis, even before he declared, you heard me on this show telling you the mainstream media is going to gin this up as a fight between DeSantis and Trump, and they're going to just absolutely let them savage each other, hoping they can stand back and come walking into the room with Gavin Newsom or somebody else that'll just get the nomination after the damage is done. And I'm seeing this right now, which is bad. I mean, even in our little grassroots movement here, we're getting these little food fights over DeSantis, Trump. I'll take DeSantis or Trump. Okay, I would take a head of lettuce over Joe Biden because I think it's more intelligent. Did you see? Oh my gosh! Did you see the question they asked Fetterman about Highway 95 collapse?
No. Did you see it?
Oh my God! I'm gonna go find that. Well, you two talk amongst yourselves. Go ahead.
Hey, Walt.
Hola, how we doing?
We're good. Are you good? Are you lost? You're looking around like you didn't know where you were.
Well, I need to make sure I'm off the road so I don't get hit by anything.
Well, that's preferable. Thank you.
Yeah. It's funny what John's talking about. I saw the Fetterman deal, and at some point, are we not going to are we not going to buy that guy some clothes? Did he not get a salary or what?
Hey, he's just being him. He's with his roots, yo.
Yeah, no. I mean, dude, I don't know. That's literally. I literally think they're doing that on purpose, just to make that guy look that stupid. He dresses like he's freaking homeless. And
who's this? Who? Fetterman?
Yeah.
Here, check it out.
Lurch.
Check this out.
Oh, he's got a suit on there.
Some comments about the tragic accident in 995, and if you want to make any comments with respect to that, feel free. You're recognized.
No, I would just really.
It's loading just like Fetterman. Give it a second. See what I did there?
95. Obviously that you're pretty much preoccupied with 95, and I certainly am too. And
okay, well, it's not.
It's a major eatery, not just for Pennsylvania, but for the East Coast. And
okay. Well, basically, you could have ate a can of alphabet soup and crapped out a more intelligible answer than that guy just 95. No, I ain't making fun of him. I'm just saying, what the hell are we doing putting people like this in our government? It doesn't make sense.
Well,
Adrian
and
says the reason people fight over Trump and DeSantis, people are so loyal to Trump, they accuse everyone who isn't of getting out of the way as established. Well, I don't know if that's true. I just think there's a lot of, well, I do think there's some of that, Adrian. I would agree with that for sure. But there's also a bunch of never Trumpers out there that don't understand the choice that you have when there's Trump and Hillary on the ballot.
Yes, but the goal is to make sure that Trump doesn't make it back to the November ballot, which is why we always say,
which is fine. If DeSantis is there, that's fine.
Elections are the most important elections.
So more to your point specifically to that video, think about this right here. Where are we sitting with I-95 right now? Still shut down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, so here's the key to think about. Sandra, you were there yesterday. You heard it.
He's not established.
So during Hurricane Ian, Florida lost bridges, sections of bridges. They had those bridges back up and running within 2 weeks. That's out over the open water. Islands of people were shut off. And within 2 weeks, within 3 days, one island, within 2 weeks, the other islands. Why can't on land, Highway 95 there in Pennsylvania, wherever that thing happened, why can't that be? That should have been done by now if you did it through DeSantis standards. This is what people need to look at. We put that idiot in a suit, throw him in the Senate, and what does he do? He spits out 95, and he probably tried to add it up in his head. But at the same time, the bottom line is they haven't fixed anything. That's what you get when that is your senator right there. Look at with Florida. Florida fixed federal roads and bridges within 2 weeks. They were able to get their economy after a natural disaster, not one where a man-made tanker truck burned up the highway. So I mean, just the observation and the irony is uncanny.
Yep. And he did. DeSantis made that very statement, and he said, look, it wasn't even a state-owned bridge. It was a federal one. But we said, hey, our people are being cut off, and they're not able to. They were literally being. The federal government was telling them, well, you're just going to have to find another place to live until this can get done, because at a minimum, it's going to take at least 6 months. And you know, and we're saying DeSantis' name because it was a story. And he said, I went in there and I said, look, this is not acceptable. I don't want to deal with any red tape. I don't want to deal with any bureaucrats. This just needs to get done because citizens need to be able to be in their homes, and we need to have this bridge up and running. And that's exactly what they did. So if they could do it there, why can't we do it anywhere else? And why isn't that the standard? Why is it the red tape and the bureaucrats, whether it's about the border, whether it doesn't matter what it's about, why is that always the standard? Oh, well, we got to get through this. And it's kind of like the old joke in a Baptist church. How many Southern Baptists does it take to change a light bulb? Well, first you got to get the committee that says the light bulb needs to be changed. Then you got to get the committee that says, well, what brand should we get? You know what I mean? So you got to go through all these committees before you can change the light bulb. And it's the same exact concept with this.
Meanwhile, look at Martha's Vineyard. Isn't that an island? Isn't that an island?
I think it is.
Okay. And whenever the illegal aliens were shipped up there, they had those people off in a heartbeat, in a second. He made that point very clear. When it's something that's inconvenient for the controlling masses, it's something they can get done. They had those people out of there by the next day. And then they want to come down here and say, oh, Texas is being racist because it's throwing people out. Meanwhile, what's our governor doing? He's putting people on the roads. He's putting wall up. He's making stuff happen. So, yeah, John, to your point, you just made, that's perfect. Those people elected a dumbass. And they're getting exactly what they elected. A guy that's still trying to figure out what I-95 means.
I-95. Yeah. Okay. That's
He thought that was an immigration form.
Well said, sir. Well said. I'll tell you, my list of heroes right now, Walter. Did you go to college, Walter, at all?
Yeah.
So when you went to college, I mean, what was the big thing? Didn't you, I mean, the sorority girls were pretty hot, weren't they?
Yeah, but I was too busy studying. I didn't have time to look, like, for real.
Well, this guy might be my new hero. He went and joined a sorority. Maybe was non-binary.
What?
This dude joined a sorority.
No, dude, that's exactly what I said. So here's the fun part. Let's go back to my high school years, John. So in high school, you know, I used to ride a skateboard. Now, what's funny is I wore
that.
cowboy boots and blue jeans when I rode my skateboard to school. People will tell you that. But we had this group of guys that, and they were hysterical. They were funny. What happened was,
I was gonna say, and what happened
was, so girls were told they could wear shorts, but it had to be down to a certain length. But they did not like the boys wearing surfer shorts, board shorts, jams. Remember jams that went down past your knees?
Yeah.
And so as our protest, a lot of dudes wore skirts. And so we were, hey man, we were dudes. But to protest, because they said you could wear skirts, but it had to be down past your knees. And so guys went to Goodwill or their sister's closet, and to protest the fact that we're no longer allowed to wear shorts, we wore skirts. I got into kilts. It was pretty cool, but and I did it a few times. I couldn't do it all the time because they made us wear underwear and stuff like that. It was like, who's checking? But anyway.
Well, then, you know what? I have more questions than I want to ask right now.
Hey, Walter, you know who Matt Perna is?
Who?
Matt Perna?
Yes.
Yeah, he for those of you who are, Sebastian Gorka commented he took his own life after Biden's DOJ enhanced his indictment to include a terrorist charge.
Yep.
Because he walked in the open door of Congress, didn't hurt anyone, didn't steal anything. I got to tell you, man, there but for the grace of God, because had I been there, and I was invited, a lot of people wanted me to go. But, Doc Green said, we're just standing out there, and all of a sudden they started shooting tear gas into the crowd and behind us. And then we tried to get away from the tear gas, and they started shoving us down the stairs. He said it was a setup from the word go. And then they go open the doors and let people in. There's video of them letting people in. This is the worst injustice I think I've ever seen in my life. Mm-hmm. And what's happening with it.
Well, and then look at it. So you say that every Friday we've got those people on. We were talking about Matthew Perna last Friday, Sandra, right? Or was it the Friday before?
It may have been the Friday before.
Okay, yeah. So, but no, that's been the whole conversation. We've had great folks here in Texas that have, their businesses have been raided. I was with a rancher down here just the other day. They caught a Jan 6er down here, and here's the sad part about the Jan 6er they caught down here. The Jan 6er they caught down here, he was helping to secure some ranches. The federal government physically brought in APCs. They brought in these MRAPs that they were going to go. They had helicopters. The news was prepped off. And when the county attorney of Kinney County, when Brent Smith heard of what they were going to do, he called. He got the guy. He said, "Hey, you need to surrender yourself." So the FBI was upset. The federal building in Del Rio had the equipment. They were going to go out the next day. They were going to do this big raid. It was going to be a Jan 6er event. They were going to make the storylines. And what did the sheriff do? The sheriff, the county attorney said, "Hey, they're coming after you. Need to, let's diffuse this." And the FBI the next day left. There was a little bit of PR over the event. That was it. But they didn't get they wanted the big Branch Davidian standoff raid that they were looking for TV ratings. This is your federal government. These are the people that are still trying to go on the narrative that every single person that walked in there was a criminal. Oh, I'm sorry, except for the Antifa that were dressed like the Trumpers that have yet to be charged. John Sullivan, I think he got a slap on the wrist. He got an ankle monitor and don't go 200 meters outside, more than 200 meters away from your house. While we had mothers that couldn't watch their kids go to the mailbox because they would be arrested.
Yep.
Well, I think I'm not going to say I like your shirt, Sandra, and I'm not saying Trump's going to skull drag DeSantis in the primary, but Trump's going to skull drag DeSantis in the primary. I'm sorry, he just is.
Well, I tell you what, John. Here's the one thing: Trump. If Trump wants to be a dumbass, he's going to continue with the divisive rhetoric of what he's going to do. he's going to try and bring up the mean tweet stuff from the stage again and throw the insults. People are rapidly running away from that style. What I did find smart on his part is now he's really starting to look into the issues, because while he was saying the stuff nobody wanted to say, people needed to hear it. But at the same time, his biggest failure was the people he brought into his administration. And I mean, the FBI that's coming out after us right now physically was appointed by Donald Trump. And that's the one thing that kills me, is that fact of the matter is the federalized weaponry that is against us now. Donald Trump is the one who put them in play. That's where we need to make sure, as we support him and as we support all the candidates, and not Nikki Haley, definitely not Mike Pence, and Will Hurd. What in the actual hell is anybody thinking giving that punk money? But at the same time, I think
he could have pointed Dr. Fauci. You're right.
Yeah,
you're right. Hey, look, there's a lot to dislike. The problem, look, my hardest thing. Let me take it down a level. Let's go back to the Gohmert-Paxton deal. I love Louis Gohmert. He would have made an amazing attorney general in the state of Texas. He had zero chance of winning that race.
It goes back to the same thing, that we just keep reelecting the same people instead of allowing there to be another chance.
Yeah. And
I don't disagree.
And I don't know how to fix it. But as politicos, we have this view of stuff, and we don't understand that people are going to vote for Trump no matter what. They are. And that's why
if we don't shed the light on other candidates, then they absolutely will.
Just because people are going to vote for Trump doesn't mean we don't need to have choices, because that's exactly what happened with Greg Abbott. That's exactly what happened with Ken Paxton. Paxton was guilty as sin, but he was guilty as sin before he raised his right hand back up and swore back in. Had they done this before that time frame, and look what's happening right now with what is happening. And this is our state house that's doing this. These dumbasses are going to cost us millions of dollars. Ken Paxton is paying millions of dollars right now out of his personal campaign or book. He's got Tony Busby. That dude ain't cheap. He's got a plethora of auditors. That ain't cheap. And what did he do? He appointed idiots. He kept idiots within his administration that let bad cops go. When you have good cops calling out saying, hey, I need help because my county district attorney won't do something. The Texas Commission on Law Enforcement won't do something. We need an AG opinion. And then the AG opinion comes back, well, we're going to side with what the TACO said about this guy, even though you've got criminal cops and depositions, you've got other police that have filled out these things, and nothing happened. The bottom line is you get hung by the people you appoint, and that's, I'm telling you right now, Ken Paxton is the equivalent to the Texas Trump when it comes to the AG. Not saying he didn't do anything wrong. I mean, he did everything wrong. But I'm saying the case that we just lost in the Supreme Court last week, 8-1, where Alito was the only standout that said Texas did have standing. Paxton wasn't there. He had to punt that to John Scott's leadership, to whoever was trying that case. And had Paxton been there, I think we probably would have made that case go through to where we can start enforcing federal laws that the federal government's not enforcing. But right. This gave shade. And the other thing is, where did we go with Dade Felon? Dade Felon still was drunk. Now we no longer can prove it, because what did we do? We let the narrative change. Dade Felon literally pulled a Hillary Clinton on everybody. That was a Hillary Clinton move right there.
Listen, I get all that. And we on this show, I think we've been pretty correct in our analysis. But I've had to step back and say, I know all this is true, and I'm fighting like hell. Look, I was an Allen West guy, 100% here in Montgomery County, fought for him, spoke for him everywhere I could, did everything I could. Did I think he really had a chance at beating Abbott? Yeah, if he'd have got to the primary, and because we'd have had through the primary, because we had plenty enough time. But I knew you weren't going to take Paxton out. And right now, unless something drastically changes to alter the trajectory of this election, Donald Trump is going to be the nominee.
Well, we'll have to worry about that after March 3rd here in Texas, or March the 4th or 5th, whichever it is. But until then, we as the people have got to do our part in allowing there to be other options and to making sure the other options get
Never
heard.
said you don't. And look, and
So
I've been on the losing side of fights for great candidates a lot of times because I believe in the candidates. But at the same time, I was not a big Trump supporter. I was a guy posted. I threw up in my mouth a little bit when I had to vote for Trump, but my choice was between him and Hillary. So
yeah, but
I took a chance.
You know what? If
I'm
the
so
choice
glad
is
I did.
between
So
Trump
glad
and
I
Biden again, then it'll be Trump. But we're
It ain't
talking
going to be
about for
Trump and
March.
Biden. It's going to be Gavin Newsom and
Well, even
and
still,
whoever.
I mean,
Yeah, John, you're right. John, you're right. I'm telling you right now, my prediction is going to be Biden ain't going to. I mean, that guy's going to have another fall off the stairs. The way they are treating that president, this president right now, his handlers, literally, the federal government wakes up and they try to figure out how can we make him less marketable. So once the bad stuff happens, you know they're going to have somebody get thrown in there. And the fact that old Sean Hannity was making Gavin Newsom look like a freaking hero on his show, that right there should tell you everything you need to know.
Yeah, Biden they were giving some speech the other day, and he tried to make some joke which made no sense, and the audience didn't laugh at all. He goes, let me explain it to you. My wife, she's a Philly girl, and nobody laughed at all. And he's like, it was just like when he was running for president the first time, and nobody showed up at his rallies.
Oh, John, John, you need to go back and look at that whole clip of my wife is a Philly girl. Prior to that, it was nothing but a pervert statement until he goes, my wife is a Philly girl. Then what he was saying made sense. He was literally sexualizing. I can't remember, but when I heard that, I was like, I can't believe he just said that. And then he jumps in, oh, my wife is a Philly girl. And it was like, oh, damn, that's what he meant. And it's one of those, it's kind of like me up there on the stage sometimes. You know, I got that brain fog that happens. That dude right there, that dude wakes up on brain fog. They give him pills of brain fog, and the stuff coming out of his mouth, nothing but brain fog. That's what's leading the country.
In fairness, Walter, you don't necessarily get brain fog. You just you find a rabbit hole and then you like to branch it sometimes, but it's always connected. This guy, let me show you. This is my favorite Biden clip I just saw this morning. Hold on, because it was good stuff. It was something like Jesus would say or something. It was good. Hold on. Oh. Hold on, let me see where I found these favorites. Here we go. By the way, hold on. Here we go. Here we go. Wait. Wrong button. And then we have to take a commercial break.
Hang on. Maybe I should use
it's
two
loading.
fingers.
Stop it. Okay, there we go.
By the way, the same stable genius has said the biggest problem we had in the Revolutionary War is we didn't have enough airports. Whoa. Yo, man, I tell you what. Look.
Somebody loaded up the teleprompter with that. You know that, right?
You and Biden are not the same with brain fogs, Walter.
He still said it. John, I'm telling you right now, who's that guy that went on the horseback? What was his name again?
Paul Revere.
Yeah, Paul Revere. You want to know why Paul Revere went town to town with that damn horse? Because he left his helicopter at the other airport.
Yep, that's what happens.
Simon, you're right. We do need to take a commercial, and we'll go ahead and do a preemptive one before we come back. For just $5 a day, you could send Sandra to tech school, and here you are buying your Starbucks instead. We'll be right back, you guys. a huge, huge thank you to our amazing sponsors, of course, the Montgomery County Tea Party. Don't forget the first and the third Monday of every month, be at Citizen Grill in Conroe, Texas. Meeting starts at 6:30. Get there early so you can hug some necks and learn you something, or maybe just talk to some people, have some sprightly debates about politics. It's a good thing. Don't be brats, though, because there's some people that get to be like real a-holes about it, and that's not cool, bro. It's not cool. So there's that. And then also don't forget about the Vietnam Veterans of America. Their service and sacrifice went far beyond Vietnam. They still continue to serve and sacrifice for their communities and their fellow veterans and their families. So please make sure that you get plugged in with one of them, even if it's just to stop by and show some appreciation, see somebody wearing a hat. Don't just say thank you for your service and keep on walking. Just say, hey, I appreciate you. Those words mean so much more. It's nice to be thanked, but to be appreciated is a completely different statement. So make sure you just reach out and love on some of these amazing veterans. And don't forget about hold on, I started seeing comments. Don't forget about mammothnation.com/# we the people work. Sign up. It's only $25 for the year. You get special discounts. You get to support Texas Fully Loaded if you sign up under mammothnation.com/we the people work. See, it's right there. Sign up. You get special discounts. Everybody on there is an American, and there are also American/veteran owned companies that are on this network. So you get discounts all over the place. So make sure you sign up. Tell them Sandra sent you. You want to be a part of that. We're also, as well as Simon said, we're taking money for Sandra to go to tech school. Good luck with that part, but we'll try it. If we can raise the money for it, I'll do it. And I promised that I would put in other candidates. So this one says Ramaswamy, a little bit darker than Team Trump, because that's my second choice. You're welcome for that, Simon. That one's just for you. See, I listen to the people.
Okay. Where'd Walter go? Did you run him off?
He got scared. No, I'm kidding.
Did
He's driving, so I don't know. He may
upset
have
him
just lost
talking
it.
about Trump?
No, he's good. No, he's driving, so
Yeah.
he's got to do real work.
I think, I know. I remember Bill Clinton saying, "I'm the first black president." You remember that? How insulting that was.
Very insulting. Adrian has an interesting
Biden
fact.
is truly our first installed president. He's our first installed because he didn't win. Every other country makes fun of that election because I guess the biggest surprising thing to me is how many people still just pretend like there was 81 million votes.
Yeah.
This guy couldn't fill up a freaking phone booth with anybody following him, and still can't. And still, there's people out there dumb enough to believe this guy won that election. It's just so disappointing.
I see bumper stickers all over Laredo with Biden Harris on it. Drives me insane. Adrian has an interesting fact. Biden was born closer to the end of the Lincoln presidency than he was at the start of his own presidency. And I think that's kind of fun. And yes, Ramaswamy is really my second choice for multiple reasons. But my number one is because it bugs the crap out of Simon. And isn't it fun to say Ramaswamy? Who wouldn't want to say that every day? But also, he does. I like him. I don't think he's ready to be president, but I really do like him.
I can't get over Governor Christie during the COVID lockdowns taking his family to the beach. That was the one that sticks in my mind.
Hey, y'all should all stay home. I want to go to the beach.
I'm looking for that picture.
Yes, I forget about Larry Elder running for president. I do love Larry Elder. I do love Larry Elder, though, but
Yeah, y'all, do you remember
I
this?
love him, and I have to keep being reminded that he's running for president should tell you everything.
This was actually a scandal when they did the COVID lockdown at the beach. They cleared the beach. The governor clears the beach. Nobody can go to the beach. And then somebody drone shot him and his family out on the beach.
In fairness, do you want to see Chris Christie on the beach either? It was probably to preserve the.
I'd have been rolling his big fat ass back in the water before he died. Too much.
Simon said he made fun of Chris Christie and got flagged on Facebook. It happens. That's real life.
Well, I mean, Christie at one point looked like he ate Jerry Nadler. I mean, he was that fat. I don't know how big he is now.
But then Jerry Nadler's still here, so did he crap him back out?
I don't know.
These are the real important questions that we are going to get to the bottom here at Texas Fully Loaded. Also, if somebody could find me more of these organic mango slices, I'd be very happy.
Well, let me run through local stuff now. People knew we had petitioned for writ of mandamus to the Texas Supreme Court. Now, why the lawyer we hired that was recommended to us by the leadership of the Republican Party of Texas decided to go that route? Well, he's the legal expert, so we defer to his judgment. And he decided to take it to the highest court in Texas instead of the Ninth Circuit Court, the Ninth Court of Appeals, or any other lower court. So that's what he did. I said from the beginning, and continue to say, that the courts are not going to touch this. I told the Republican Party of Texas this when their leadership said, you guys need to take this to the courts. I said, they're not going to take it because this is a private organization. They're going to say, you need to exhaust all remedies to solve your problems before you take it to the courts. And they said, nope, you got to take it to the courts, otherwise we can't touch it. So we said, okay. So we took it to the courts. Well, the courts thus far said they're not going to touch it. So we're at a place where we're trying to figure out what to do now. Do we take this to the Ninth Circuit, which we know we're probably going to get the same results because they're going to push it back to the state. And the state has told us that they would take action. I talked to John Beckmeyer when I was at the Capitol. I said, the courts are not going to, I have no confidence the courts are going to touch this. And what I was told was, well, if they don't, then we'll have to take action. I'm like, good. So we're trying to clear the way. But how much money is it going to cost? How much time is it going to cost to clear the way before the Republican Party finally has the stones to enforce their own rules? That's the question we have. And is it worth it? So I don't know what's going to happen with that right now. But if you want to keep up with what's going on with the case, mctxgop.org is where to go find out about that. This is a synopsis of what happened with the case so far. Now, of course, as soon as the court said, we're not going to touch this, we're going to go ahead and deny the writ because we don't want to hear it, they didn't issue a statement or a judgment or anything out of it. They just said, we're not touching it. Of course, the chairman immediately, as we predicted on Texas Fully Loaded months ago when all this started, he will come out and claim he won, which is exactly what he did. Not only did he claim he won, Sandra, but he put out in a press release, John Boucher's finally defeated, him and his lawyer. You guys are just stupid.
Wow.
But he continues to blame the Freedom Caucus instead of the majority of the party. That's their little trick they do, as you know. He said that I orchestrated all this, which anybody who knows anything about anything knows I was not even 100% in favor of going to the courts. I served the body, and the majority of the body wanted to go, and so I went along with what they were saying.
Go
ahead.
That has been noted on this show, especially at the beginning of it. And I would swear under oath to that because the number of phone calls that you and I had over that was unbelievable. Mm-hmm. So, yep. Yeah.
The other thing, he added in the closing of the county party headquarters, which he did in the middle of the night against the will of the majority here. And of course, now his wife tells people, I'm the only one on the lease, so I can decide who comes and goes here. And they told Gwen Withrow, our officials committee person and our SD SREC person and a precinct chair here in Montgomery County, that she was not welcome there. Her and her husband were not welcome there. So that's the plan, is they set up this Republican club. Kristen Christ has rented a place, put her name on the lease. They're telling elected officials, hey, this is the new Republican headquarters. And we say, no, it's not. And then eventually they come back and say, we never said that, which is the same duplicitous crap they always do. They went and removed it, by the way, Sandra, from all their advertising. First thing they said, we lost the Republican headquarters. We had to establish another one. We're raising money for the headquarters, blah, blah, blah. Elected officials signed up to give because they thought they're giving a Republican headquarters. We said, no, they're not. This isn't. They said, yes, it is. You're lying. We said, here's the evidence showing they're transferring money into their private PAC. This is their PAC's headquarters. This has nothing to do with the party. Then they came back and said, well, we never said it was a headquarters. So just back and forth. They're just such freaking liars. He also claimed the lawsuit, there's the money thing again. And again, if Brian wants to show up and have one of his people make a motion to give him control of the account, then they could do that. But they will never do that because they don't have the votes, and all the fake people he's appointed are not recognized by the county executive committee. So they could show up tomorrow and just say, hey, well, we have all these people now and we're voting this way. Well, it wouldn't count because none of your meetings are valid, and it's just not going to happen. Nobody's ever going to turn that over. And here's an idea. If you want to try that, you go to the courts and you try and sue for it because you don't have a shot. You know it. So anyway, that's what's going on with the local party stuff. Not sure what the attorney is going to do. I'm not the guy that's coordinating that with him. That's somebody else. So whatever happens is going to happen.
You know what, John? I want to do something. This is controversial. I haven't spoken to you or Walter about this, so here it is anyway. I'll do it just so that we can here on Texas Fully Loaded. We want to be fair. We want to be fair. We want to give the other side a chance to speak out. So if Brian Christ wants to come on this show without John and without Walter, just me and Brian, so that he can give his take on this.
Never going to happen.
It's that. Well, we know his people watch. So I want, this is a sincere offer. Brian Christ, if you would like to come on Texas Fully Loaded so that you can have your voice heard in this conversation, then the invitation is open. You call me directly and we'll make it happen.
Yeah, good luck. And the simplicity of this case breaks down like this, Sandra. This organization gets to decide what it wants. They vote on things. As long as they're not breaking the law, they vote on things. And you're supposed to have a deliberative body show up, debate things, and vote on them, and that should be the end of it. What Brian hangs his hat on is he claims that there was an adjournment, which then somehow magically grants him the power to do anything he wants at the organizational meeting. The problem he has, of course, is that that meeting was adjourned to recess in accordance with Robert's rules. The motion to adjourn was really clear that Mr. Sunderman said, until the chairman can call us back. Robert's rule says a meeting is adjourned to recess at a time specific or at the call of the chair. Brian did send out a meeting call for the follow-up meeting that the group decided they wanted to continue the meeting and continue the agenda. The agenda said you will not end this meeting until the agenda is complete. So it was clear to everybody that the body was continuing the organizational meeting on the 23rd. Because Brian didn't have the votes and they tried to stack the votes before the meeting even started on the 19th by colluding with James Byers and colluding with the parliamentarian to shut out the majority and shut down their ability to vote on stuff. This has been a setup from the beginning. Brian has made rulings. He can rule. He effectively ruled that the meeting was adjourned and was overturned by the majority of the party. He's been overturned on all of his rulings. That's why he stopped going to the meetings. This is the most childish thing I have ever seen in my life. And there's a gray area, and there is, and it's really over the cause of division. That's right, Adrian, against parliamentary procedure for sure. So there is a gray area, and here's that gray area for our watchers who don't understand. And I've talked about it a lot on the show, but it warrants repeating again. The gray area is that the courts don't want to touch this because it's a private organization, and the state party don't want to rule it because there's 22 statutory duties in the Texas election code. So they hang their hat on, well, we're afraid to touch anything because we'll get sued. What Montgomery County is doing is trying to clear the way to say, hey, the courts aren't going to intervene, so this is definitely a state party thing. And if the state party at that point says, we still don't want to act, we want to defer to the county party, we will convene a meeting and we will fire Brian. And we will expect the state party to support that. And if they don't, then perhaps we have to sue the state party and file a writ of mandamus against them to enforce their rules, because their rules explicitly say if you fail to perform statutory duties, you will be removed from office. That's Rule 8K of the RPT. So they have these rules written that they're not willing to enforce, and the courts won't enforce them either. And that gray area is where shitheads like Brian, who come in and say, well, If the courts aren't going to enforce it and the party ain't going to enforce it, I can just do whatever I want. And that's where we are. That's what we're dealing with right now, that gray area. And so the only way we lose is if we stop. And if we stop, that means that we lose the party, we lose the county, and we lose the state. Because Brian and his people don't care about the Republican Party. It's a costume they wear to get elected, just like they wore the costume of the Tea Party in 2014 to get people elected. And tomorrow, if the Satanists had a big voting block in Montgomery County, these jackasses would be burning a cross on your front yard. They don't care about the Republican brand. And so that's what's happening right now. What's been most disappointing is the elected officials that go along with it, that are too cowardly to stand up against it. You know, they stand on the sidelines yelling, y'all get along. Well, how do you get along with somebody who's doing these things? And you know, and Chris knows she's doing this stuff, Sandra. It's not like she doesn't know that she's doing underhanded stuff, because she doesn't even use her real name on social media. She goes by Kristen Nicole. She's so embarrassed about what she's doing. And the fact that when you confront her about it, she'll deny it and then do it later. I don't even have anything to do with that PAC. I mean, she's just such a liar. So it tells you she knows what she's doing is total scumbaggery, but they do it anyway. And of course, if they lie their way up through the election, Sandra, then they go, "Ha! It won. We won. You're just mad because it worked." And all these elected officials standing around going, "Gee, we had no idea, Jon. We had no idea." Well, you do now. I made sure you know. So we're gonna keep fighting this thing as much as we can. If Brian and them want to try and get a hold of the bank account, go ahead and file your lawsuit. Go ahead and knock yourself out. Good luck finding the court that'll take it. It's not going to happen.
Well, and
yeah, I was told at one time,
right.
Alexander, there was 40. I was told by Matt Rinaldi himself during the mediation, because we have about 40 counties doing this right now. And I said, you're going to have 80 until you fix it. You better have the balls to fix it. And so now they're upset with me too, because I'm trying to like drag them along, trying to get them to do what they need to do.
Well, and I wish that like you said, both of you just stated, there are more counties that are in very similar situations. I think they're all kind of hoping, and this is where I've stated on this show before, this is where Montgomery County, the people, the GOP of, I'm sorry, not the GOP, the precinct chairs there in Montgomery County are kind of being a beacon of light for others around the state, and they're watching and waiting to see what's going to happen, because this is literally a moment for people to realize that if they stand up to try and do the right thing, here's a big county with a lot of people and a lot of resources behind this. If they can win and set the standard across the state for what needs to be done, then you know what? Maybe I can stand up and fight for my smaller county, or for my smaller party, or for my smaller fill in the blank, because we see that, there is victory at the end. This isn't going to just be washed aside by the good old boys. And unfortunately, that's exactly what this is, a litmus test to find out if the good old boys are still in charge of everything.
Well, here's the sad truth of it. Whenever the Supreme Court said, yeah, we don't want to touch this, I sent Matt Rinaldi an email and I said, okay, the courts have punted on this. It's on you. He goes, well, what did the Ninth Court say? So they're going to ping pong us to every court across the land. And it's already costing tens of thousands of dollars. Right. So what I'm going to want from Matt Rinaldi, if what I'm going to want from them, Mr. Beckmeyer told me, the executive director of the party, he said, well, if the courts don't act, then we will. What I'm going to want from them is assurances. I want something in writing that says, if the courts punt on this, we are going to take action and enforce our rules. Because otherwise, at the end of this, if the courts all punt and then we go back to the RPT and they go, no, we don't want to touch it, we're right back to where we started again in the court of public opinion here, slugging this out. And it's a waste. This has to be fixed, because every single cycle, these rogue chairs get more emboldened, and it's not going to be long before you see the Democrats buying the chairmanships in these counties. Just with deceptive campaigns, because that's pretty much what happened here. Brian and the Democrats worked together here at the polls to do this. I mean, I was there. I saw it. I saw them in the Democrats' tent. I saw them high-fiving the Democrats. I saw the Democrats coming out saying, we just voted for Brian. And I looked at Brian and go, They're not voting for you because they're afraid of you. They're not voting for you because of your Republican credentials, buddy. You know why they're voting for you. And indeed, Brian, as soon as he got elected, started a webcast called Purple Politics and gave the Democrats a place to speak here in Montgomery County, gave them a platform. So the GOP, the Texas GOP, is turning the state blue by their inaction, by their cowardice. They are turning the state blue.
That they absolutely are. And, it's almost like they're kind of proud of it, low key. And to me, this shows the network of the good old boy system. It shows the network of, hey, we're going to tell you what's important and why, and you're just going to go with it blindly. And if you don't like what we're saying, then you're not one of us, and you don't care about Texas, and you don't care about the party, and all this other crap. It's just more of the good. It's more of the let's allow complacency to win, so that people who fight are going to give up. That's all it is.
Yeah, well, and that's the other thing. When we went to Austin to fight against these bills that would have destroyed the Republican Party, you know who the largest contingency there was fighting for that, against that? Montgomery County. Where's the Republican Party? You got a bill that says we're going to force you to associate with people that don't share your beliefs and allow them to borrow the Republican banner to run under, and the Republican Party sat on their hands and did nothing.
Well, I've told this story before, but when I ran for office the first time, I went to the RPT headquarters so that I could fill out my candidacy paperwork. And, you fill out your standard information, what's your name, what's your address, blah, 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 all that kind of crap. Then at the very end, it has what are your priorities and what are of the Republican Party of Texas's playing some platforms, pick 10 that you, pick your top 10, I think is what it said. And the first go round, there was over 300 playing some platforms. And so I'm sitting there in the office and I'm literally reading through I'm like, wow, this is incredible. I didn't realize this was a question on here. So I'm reading through the planks and platforms, right? Because I believe in doing my part. And so finally, the guy who was helping me with my paperwork, I worked for the RPT, goes, oh, you don't have to read that if you don't want to. Like, you don't even have to fill that part out. And I said, well, it's on here. What do you mean I don't have to fill it out? And he's like, yeah, it's just on there, but most people don't even touch it. They don't even thumb through it. So I'm kind of surprised that you're even, making notes. And I was like, well, I mean, if I'm saying that I'm running as a Republican, and then on the form it says pick your top 10, I feel like this is kind of an important thing so that people know who I am. And they're like, yeah, nobody actually fills that out. And I said, well, who looks at these? And they're like, nobody. And I said, wait a second. So how do we know who's running for office here and what their values or what they really stand for? If they can't even put it on a piece of paper for the Republicans, what the hell are they doing in here filling out paperwork? And they're like, yeah, it's kind of a thing. It's unfortunate, isn't it? And literally just like, meh, is what it is.
Hang on a second. I got to close it.
They're working on it, Adrian. Give them a minute. They still have time to file. Ugh. So I wanted to no. While we have a second here, while you're looking up something, I'm really excited. On Thursday, this week, Thursday, I'm so excited about this. We just got the confirmation for this on, I think, Friday, and I haven't had a chance to make a flyer or anything. Our dear friend Alan West is going to be on our show. Everybody always asks us what he's up to and X, Y, and Z. We point people to his podcast, but he's going to be here on the show. But it's going to be an extended Texas Fully Loaded because of what time Alan can come on and stuff. So I'm excited about it. So y'all tell your friends. People have been asking what our friend Alan West is up to. You're going to get to find out straight from the horse's mouth. So y'all come on now.
When's he coming on? What day?
Thursday.
This coming Thursday?
This coming Thursday.
Awesome.
I'm excited. I'm super excited. I haven't even fully opened the email to get all of the details. I just know what Ken has told me. Because I've been traveling a lot because, I mean, I usually do, but more so than usual. And usually I can have some downtime on the other side of where I sit for at least a minute, but I have not. I took my kids up to my dad's and got to see my sisters. In fact, my youngest sister did my hair, so I was pretty excited about getting that done. So you have to trade sleep for emails sometimes, and I just haven't had the capacity to do that.
Well, depending on how this shakes out with the Republican Party of Texas, Sandra, we'll see what happens at the next convention. But if they punt on this and they go coward and say, we're not doing this, I hope somebody goes to the mic and nominates me for state chair at the convention. Not that I want to be state chair, but I sure want the microphone because I got a few things to say, and the people at the convention are going to want to hear it. Because I think it's a piss poor thing to do, to bring 10,000 Republicans in a room, go through the act of the farce of adopting rules and a platform that our state party has absolutely no intention of enforcing. I mean, that should piss every single Republican off that goes to that convention, that you wasted all your time drafting rules and pretending to put something together that the people that you've elected are too cowardly to enforce. That should piss everybody off.
No, it absolutely should. And I had to laugh, well, in a friendly chuckle kind of way. Walter put a memory from last convention where he just gave this wonderful shout out for Ashley and all the hard work that she had done in the committee that she was in, and she made the statement underneath of it, and it said, yeah, it's a shame that we all wasted our time there though, because all the work that we did was completely useless to this session now. Tonight at Mama Juanita's at 5405 FM 1488, the Freedom Caucus is having a get-together. We're going to celebrate the life of the founder, Kathy Ross. We're going to have a nice little party. We're going to have some music. It's going to be a good time. It's a Mexican restaurant, so there'll be margaritas present. I'm pretty excited about that. Really looking forward to just blowing off some steam and being with some friends tonight. Hopefully you can make it. Everybody's welcome. It's going to be on the patio out there. We're going to get set up. Thing starts at 6:30, but there'll be people there, probably from 4:30 until the thing starts. So come on, check it out. Montgomery County Freedom Caucus tonight, 6:30 p.m. Mama Juanita's, FM 1488 Magnolia. I'm super sad I am not going to get to be in town for that. That's going to be absolutely fantastic. So I will have a margarita in honor of y'all's event tonight. That's going to be awesome. I'm excited for you guys. Simon, what's your bombshell over here? Hold on. I need to drop a bombshell before the show ends. Old Dylan Mulvaney came out as a lesbian.
I saw that. Dylan Mulvaney. Yeah.
That's funny stuff.
Mm.
So much to say on that. It's really a shame we've only got a couple minutes left of the show. All right, well, recap. Don't forget, call your friends in. Make sure everybody knows Alan West will be on the show on Thursday, and it'll be extended hours. So you know how we like to do Texas Fully Loaded after hours, but it's really just because we don't stop talking. So that'll be exciting. Of course, a huge thank you. Marianne Mendoza hosted our show yesterday. I was able to call in for just a couple of quick moments, but she did a fantastic job. I'm so excited that she is starting to become more of a regular here on Texas Fully Loaded. We may dub it Arizona Fully Loaded if she does it again, because it was exciting to have her on the show for us yesterday.
One more thing, Sandra. This is, guys, our new hero.
As a Delaware County councilman is coming out as a transgender and a woman of color. Delaware County Councilman Ryan Webb announced that he now identifies as an Indian American woman. Since that announcement, he's received some support, but a lot of backlash, many calling him childish, despicable, even calling for things like execution. In a statement Webb gave to IT Nation says, quote, "It is unfortunate that I cannot simply be given the same space and respect to explore my identity that so many of those targeting me demand for themselves. It's possible I may change my mind down the road. The process of identity exploration is complex, and oftentimes at the end of our personal journey, we end right back where we started. Webb goes on to tell ITMate this is just his true, authentic self.
I am totally going to be reaching out to him as soon as this show is over to see if we can have him on our show. Holy crap.
His before and after photo almost made me piss my pants. That was awesome.
So this is hysterical. So I was at my dad's and I was cooking, and I opened up the pantry to get some seasonings out, and there is a big thing. It's a regular seasoning size, and it says black pepper across it, and it was clearly salt. So I grabbed it and I looked at my dad and I said, "Who are you to tell this salt what it really is? It wants to be black pepper, then by God, it's black pepper." And I gave it a double shake.
There you go. Good for you, Sandra. Fight the power.
That's what I'm doing.
I love this, how people have decided to take a stand and fight the fact that reality exists. That's awesome. Awesome.
All right, guys, don't forget we've got some merch. It's actually happening. So these are our prototypes. I'm excited about it. So y'all be on the lookout for more. It is time for us to go. We love you guys. We love you, John. See you guys.
Track down Ryan Webb. Take care.
Bye, y'all.
God bless you.